Okay, I believe the New York Jets have a real good shot to make the playoffs in 2022. 5 reasons why, well, kind of, but really debunking 5 reasons why maybe you or somebody you know or a pundit out there on the interwebs might give for the New York Jets not being ready to compete for the postseason next year. The first reason one might give is that they're not going to win that many games. Not ready to win that many games in year 2 of this rebuild, but I'd remind you it only takes 9 wins out of now 17 games. 9 wins was the total of the 7 seed for the AFC and NFC, respectively, last year. Let's look at some of those 9-win teams. Pittsburgh Steelers. Some ballers on the defensive front, no doubt about it, but their offense was solely composed of Big Ben throwing bubble screens to Deontay Johnson, the player formerly known as Big Ben, with his right arm falling off. Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts got that dog in him, like Jalen, but rough around the edges as a passer. His second outside receiving target was who? Jalen Reagor? I mean, what player on the defensive front of Philadelphia were you game planning against last year? A 31-year-old Fletcher Cox who had 3 sacks? All right. I'll take Quinnen, JFM, Carl Lawson, or Jermaine Johnson over that for 500, please. Thank you very much. Miami Dolphins. Before Tyreek Hill, before Teron Armstead, that roster last year, is that significantly more talented than the Jets roster coming up in 2022? I don't think so. A notch below that, 8 wins. Cleveland Browns, in the fight for that 7th seed till the bitter end, Baker Mayfield with his labrum torn off, throwing passes to Donovan Peoples-Jones. You know, I didn't mention the 1972 Miami Dolphins in this list of teams that are going to be right in the hunt for the 7th seed. Speaking of loaded teams, the second reason you may give for the Jets not being ready to make the playoffs is the stacked AFC and the really tough schedule. And look, I've said it a bunch of times, the AFC is staying stacked. You got like a half a dozen stud quarterbacks, 25 or younger. So what are we going to do? Throw the towel in on the next decade of Jets football? And the schedule is, the strength of schedule is the most overrated thing in the NFL offseason. It really is. And by the way, on the stacked AFC note, the AFC West, those teams all have to play each other twice. There's a finite number of wins to go around. And the schedule, yeah, okay, if you have a bottom 5 strength of schedule or like a top 5, there's probably some teeth to that. That's going to hold. But in the middle, where the Jets are, in the teens, there's no use fretting about that. There's too much parity, turnover, injuries in the NFL for that to matter. Look at last year, for example. Last year, 2021, if you would have saw the Baltimore Ravens on your schedule, you're not feeling great about that. You get to that game, and it's Tyler Huntley at quarterback. Flip side, if you would have seen the Cincinnati Bengals on your schedule, you're like, hey, that's a 4-win team. But then you get there, Joe Burrow is playing borderline MVP football, and you're running into a buzzsaw. Speaking of young players balling out, reason number 3, you might say we're projecting too much. We don't know how these rookies are going to look. We don't know how these new free agent signings are going to fit. We don't know how these guys coming back from injury are going to perform. And yeah, there's some question marks, no doubt. But we've been, and accurately I might add, Jets fans have been accurately projecting failure and ineptitude for the better part of a decade. I mean, did we need to see it on the field to know that the Adam Gase years were going to be awful? I don't know. I haven't seen a 78-year-old Frank Gore run up the middle for 2 yards in a Jets uniform. Don't know how it's going to look. It could be great. I mean, come on. So if we can project failure, why can't we project success? Because we got some ball players on this team. And, you know, when you talk about the rookies, my favorite part about those draft picks, especially those first 4 picks, Sauce Wilson, J.J. Brees, high floor. No boomer bust, Travon Walker, Stingley, high floor. So I don't know if any of them are going to make the Hall of Fame, but they're going to be immediate impact players and upgrades from what we had last year. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, the 4th reason you might give is that it's too big of a leap. We need to take baby steps, incremental steps in this rebuild. We had 2 wins, 4 wins, then maybe we get to 6 or 7 wins. And miss me with that mentality. Really, you see this in your life. You get exponential growth when you make radical change. And what change could be more radical than 12 new starters on offense and defense? That's 12 out of your starting 22 are going to be new faces. Let's name them. Mekhi Becton, Laken Tomlinson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, or CJ Uzomah, whoever's tight end one. Carl Lawson, JFM, why? He slides inside, taking Sheldon Rankin's job, so you're upgrading 2 positions there. Jermaine Johnson, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead, LaMarcus Joyner. It's a brand new football team. Top end talent better, and then upgrades with depth. The youngest roster in the NFL last year. Guys from year 1 to 2 and year 2 to 3 are going to be better. Rookie head coach, rookie OC, they're going to be better. And if you look at it statistically, the Jets actually had league average number of injuries last year. But, man, to get our 2 biggest free agent acquisitions last year, Corey Davis and Carl Lawson, to play a combined 8 games. And then the cluster injuries at positions. Are we going to start 9 different safeties next year? That seems unlikely to me. And finally, reason number 5 you might give is that you're not sold on Zach Wilson. And I get that. I expected more last year too. But let's remind ourselves of some context that matters. Per David Wyatt Upton, Zach Wilson had 1.7 seconds on average to throw before the pocket collapsed. Worst in the league. Also, worst in the league, Zach Wilson, the highest percentage of drop passes any quarterback in the NFL. And, okay, we dropped some passes, but how many times can you remember where Zach Wilson made an average or poor throw, a throw just behind the guy, or threw a 50-50 ball up for grabs, or tried to squeeze it into a tight window, or on the sideline? How many times did a playmaker bail out Zach Wilson by making a spectacular play? I could probably count it on one hand the whole season. Other successful quarterbacks, they had playmakers where they could chuck it up to, and someone's going to make a play. Someone's going to go one hand. Someone's going to snag a throw behind him. Someone's going to go toe drag swag on the sideline. We had none of that. So now, can we improve that 1.7 seconds? Yeah, a better coached offense, year 2 OC. Laken Tomlinson, Mekhi Becton. That's 40% of your offensive line just got injected with Pro Bowl talent. The drop passes. Is there anything more momentum killing than a dropped pass? Football's the consummate team sport. Offensive line does their job. Quarterback goes through his reads. Receiver gets open, clangs off his chest. What a momentum killer. Now, tight ends who can catch. Conklin, Uzomah, a back who can catch. Breece Hall. Hopefully Elijah Moore, Corey Davis stay on the field longer. Garrett Wilson enters the chat. Garrett Wilson, also a guy who's going to come down, contort that body, bail Zach Wilson out with some average, even some poor throws and some 50-50 balls. Those are the 5 reasons. All gas, no break.